hero.
Have you any hobbies?
My hobbies are fast cars and fast women.
Hobbies are healthy. They teach you things.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Sign everybody up. It's Monday night. We're live. I'm not muted. Hopefully everybody's doing good. And boy, oh boy, do we got a big show this week. One that I know Ducky's probably happy about, but we're not going around the panel yet. We have a Memphis Showboats takeover of Around the UFL just a little bit later. Not only are we getting our first episode with double guests at the same time, because I know we had double guests just a couple weeks ago, but at the same time, we're getting them return guests from the same team. Man, oh man, this is going to be a big one. So here's what I need everyone to do. Do all the things. Subscribe, click the bell. It builds morale. It lets you know when we go live. Just like this, just like Spring Stock 4, just like every other week when we do Around the UFL. Share the video, go on social media, do all the things you need to do because kickoff is right around the corner and we got two big old guests. But before we get into the fun, let's go around the panel. Jimmy James Larson, how'd you find time to get on this show between breaking all the news and dropping all the transactions and doing all the things that you are doing? My man, how are you doing today?
Man, today was rough just because there was so much to get out, and with Twitter/X being down most of the day, it wasn't pretty. My engagement numbers were down. It was tough to get articles out, but besides that, we're doing great. Another week in UFL training camp, and we had some really interesting storylines over the weekend. Lots of new signings, some surprising releases, a lot to get into, and we got a couple awesome guests. So, I mean, what more could we ask for?
Hell yeah. Nick Thorne, again, shaming me with my framing, but you got the cat out. How you doing today?
Doing great. We're kind of at the point now at camp, only two and a half weeks away till the start of the season. We're starting to see some surprise cuts. We're starting to see some moves, some big names that have signed that we'll talk about. But, we're getting really close now and things are going to start shaking out. And, this is the perfect time to talk to a coach and kind of see like, hey, where are things headed right now? Where what's the vibe check in that Memphis defense? So excited to get into it.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, dude, this is like your time to shine, your time of the season. We always talk about your completely free roster doc that may or may not have almost been deleted by your cat, but it didn't. It's still there. It's 100%
Not this one.
available. Not that cat. Don't shame that cat, crowd.
Yeah.
But anyway, make sure you're checking out that roster doc daily. It's good. It's there. It's not deleted. But we're at the end of the panel. Last but not least, Shucky Ducky Quack Quack. How you feeling this week? It's got to be good.
It's good. I'm glad we got these two fine gentlemen coming on later. That's my most exciting thing probably all season long.
Well, I do find it funny that this is the 1 week you're not wearing your Boogie shirt.
I know. Or
You had to
UFL
come
or
off as
anything.
independent journalist here.
Unbiased.
Unbiased, 100% unbiased. So, well, we got a little bit of time to kill before the guests show up. If anybody wants to know, this is not an opportunity to leave. Like the video, actually. Like the video. Or dislike the video, but like it. It's even better. Stick around because at the bottom of the hour, it's 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, and all the other time zones that you may or may not be a part of. At the bottom of the hour, we got the big guest joining. But before we jump into that, before they get on here, we do got to talk about some stuff. We're going to talk about Media Day. I guess we'll talk about Media Day first. I was talking about this on the UFL podcast. I think I brought it up last week on Around the UFL. They did the thing that I wanted them to do, and that's give us content. Give us content. Now, the one thing that I did notice that I didn't talk about on the other shows that we'll talk about here, and I wanted to get your guys' take on it. I've noticed in more than one example, it seems like they're having opposing teams use like the gimmick of another team. So for instance, I've seen multiple people wear the yacht club hat or I've seen the cowboy hats. We've seen a couple of those things. It feels like they're getting ready to have like, okay, as the season goes through, if one of those teams makes a big play against, we'll say the Showboats, the cowboy hats, you can kind of use it against any of the Texas teams. Then you can show those clips. But I thought that was interesting. I do want to see more CJ Johnson clips. I want to see him in the boxing gloves. They better have put him in the boxing gloves because he's going to be the champion at the end of the season.
They did. Yeah, there was a random clip somewhere of him in the boxing gloves.
Oh, yeah, it's right in there. I think there was people flipping his collar because he's the man. And just wait until we have that 12-0 season. You'll be flipping his collar too. I'll be flipping it for you. I'll be charging $5 a flip. So anyway, did you guys have any favorite clips? What favorite moments that we've seen so far, whether it's even out on the field or something from the media day, social media stuff? What do we got?
I mean, I'm a big fan of just how they do media day. I mean, you look at some of the, like, I love the graphics. I love the graphic design, like the lights, the logos, all of that, Fox has been a big part of the last couple of years. Like the way, they have like those mirrors where the players walk through and
The light tunnels.
Like those are pretty sick. I love that.
Yeah.
I love those clips.
That's the good thing about Fox. It's just how they can do that type of stuff.
It's nice, professional, it's crisp, it's clean. And this even goes way, way, way back from when I was a little boy. To me, Fox has always had the best presentation when it comes to football on TV. And this is just kind of another extension of that. They don't just have a company, they have a machine behind them. And we've seen that with the USFL. We're seeing that now with the UFL to a certain extent is why not use the things that we already know or already have and just throw the UFL into it. And here we go. And I think the light tunnel is one of those things. I'm sure if you watch some other Fox broadcasts, you'll see things that are similar, things like that. So again, I do love seeing that. I don't know. Any other thoughts on Media Day? Zach and I talked about it a lot the other day, so I don't have too much more to add beyond what I have. We could transition to transactions, but I don't know if anyone else had thoughts on media.
Yeah.
Actually, chat. I wonder if anybody, you go ahead.
Yeah. So for me, I'm not like big into the media day stuff, but for me, the reason that I'll like pay attention to that is just solely to see guys in uniforms for the first time, like actual game, what they're going to look like. I'm gonna look on social media and see Max Duggan for the first time, Andy Isabella, these kind of guys. I'm like, wow, that's cool. You actually, it becomes real a little bit there. I was like, wow, we're actually going to see them this season. And so that's really the only thing that I'm, all the other gimmick stuff, whatever, for social medias, that's all great. It all has its place. But like, for me, it's just solely like, wow, his name's on the back of that jersey. That's sick.
Well, I mean, you bring up a good point too, because I know there's a lot of attention on player numbers, right? Jersey numbers. And so this is a big time of year where some of those things come out. Speaking of Andy Isabella, he was one of the guys that I think had one of the more shared clips of him with the United States flag in front of that Battlehawks logo. Love it or hate it, people were sharing it. People were getting down with it. Lots of Ayler clips out there this year. 2 QB system in Arlington, question mark. Well, UFL highlights would love to see that. And I believe, and quote me if I hope I'm right, I heard he's going to be at Spring Stock 4. If he is, he's going to be on the show in one way or another. We're going to make him be on the show if he wants to. I'm sure he wants to. If he doesn't want to, we're going to make him be on it anyway. We'll probably make it even more painful than he wants it to be if he doesn't want to be on it. We'll find you. Don't you worry. Anyway, what are we talking about? Okay, so media day, transactions, I think. Maybe we move into transactions. James, I don't know how you're like knocking out all these damn articles. It seems
sometimes I don't know either.
We had
sometimes
it's outage.
1 a.m. and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get an article done.
That's what always I think is kind of funny is I wake up and sometimes I have the alert on my computer already of like an article. I'm like, when the hell did this go out? And sometimes it's at 3 a.m. Today, X is down, not James Larson. No. There's like four articles.
It was so annoying trying to write articles because I love to, I want to have tweets in the articles, and obviously then we post them to Twitter. And guys, I know it's X, but I just call it Twitter. Like it's always gonna be Twitter. But like, so it made it really frustrating because like then I like to schedule like hour by hour, especially like a day like today where there's 5 or 6 articles going out. I want to have like 1 article out per hour. I couldn't do that today because X was down for like 2-3 hours at a time, so that was really annoying. But we roll with the punches. That's what you do in spring football. And Elon, hopefully. I want some reparations for what happened today, but
we need where's our, I need my Twitter time back. I had to have like a real life for a couple hours because X was down. I couldn't make any X posts. I couldn't share any X posts. I couldn't make any X replies. I was all X'd out.
Well, transactions.
Yes.
There's been some pretty interesting movement this past week. I mean, I think we got to start off right away with Case Cookus to Birmingham. I mean, that's kind of a full circle moment right there. Cookus, one of the one of the bigger names in the spring football scene.
Coward.
Where he literally almost topped the Stallions in that first championship. People forget about that. People forget that if he didn't break his leg, I would put money on the fact that the Stars would have won that game. You had KJ Costello come in and throw a pick 6 to Scooby and then another interception after that to McFarland to seal the deal. Cookus, he was cooking, no pun intended, in that game. I don't know if you guys remember this, but remember that one touchdown he threw to Jordan Sewell where they were down by quite a few at that point in the game, and he scrambled around the pocket, escaped like 2 tacklers, and then just found Sewell in the back of the end zone. I was like, once that happened, I was like, okay, I think Philadelphia's going to take this one. They got in front. Who was the linebacker? Was it Jordan Scott, I think, who had an interception on Magoo? But, Thorne, you're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Dude,
he was an XFL fan.
I was sitting there like, man, what was it? Jordan Moore?
Jordan Moore. I think you're right.
Yeah.
This is why
Ducky wasn't getting that. Ducky was not getting that.
Listen.
See me.
The Breakers weren't in it year 1, so I didn't care.
But anyways, Cookus to Birmingham is really interesting because, I mean, he's pretty clearly signing as QB3. Like, obviously, it's going to be an open competition. But you have Magoo and Corral who have already been in Skip's system before. Corral can be a starter. Magoo can be a starter. Yes, Cookus could be a starter, but I don't see him being above Corral or Magoo, especially in Birmingham's system. To me, this is a very similar move to what we saw with Sloter in year 2. Ducky's going to hate me for this, but Kyle Sloter went in there as QB3 as an emergency guy. If they desperately need someone, he can come in and play well. Like, Cookus will come in and, I mean, especially with Skip Holtz, like, seeing Case Cookus and Skip Holtz offense would be really, really fun. However, I don't see that happening unless something crazy happens to Magoo and or Corral.
They're
Yeah.
using his mind like they did with Sloter. Because Sloter's like a genius when it comes to being a quarterback. So, like, obviously you want that guy on your team.
Just
Of
his
course, of
aura
course.
out there was making
Yeah,
them
yeah,
connect.
pick his
Yeah.
brain.
I
So-
think
Probably the
he's
only reason they
gonna-
won.
Yeah.
Go on.
I just continuing on with the Cookus talk. I think he's really the obvious Jamar replacement there, as like basically a QB coach that can be that QB3. That's like, hey, break glass in case of emergency. He could go in and win you some games at this level. I don't
Colt
think.
McCoy.
I mean, like obviously he showed some regression last year with Memphis, but I also think that he was kind of given a no-win situation, and especially as a guy who's not super mobile. He can be mobile, but like he's not elite at that level. And even like a guy like Troy Williams, who's more athletic than him, struggled with the surrounding cast they had last year. So I think he's a perfect kind of QB3. And literally he was a quarterback coach in the fall at a D3 school. So like, he can be a great person to have in that room.
You
know-
brought up Jamar. Oh, sorry. You
were
brought up
going
Jamar.
Exactly where
Oh,
I was
really?
going, so go
And
on. Yeah,
did you guys see what he posted on Instagram? Something
I
about
was
don't
about
believe
to-
everything you see.
Yeah, he posted that to Twitter too.
Yeah.
He
That's crazy.
which is funny because Jamar's Twitter has been like he deactivated it for like a few months, but he just reactivated it just to tweet that out last night. I was like, huh.
So for anybody who hasn't seen the tweet, Jamar basically came out and said, hey, don't believe everything you read. And it looks like he might potentially be working towards a comeback of some sorts. Now, we had pontificated in the chat that it might be comical if he signs with the Showboats. Now, just because of what we're seeing here with the move of Cookus, it would basically be a trade in the most untraditional of ways. I don't necessarily think that's the case. But it feels like Memphis might have, something up their sleeve too with the opening at QB as well. But I don't think we're going to get much information out of the defense guys today, but might try. I'm curious, Thorne, you're a roster guy. What team is the team that could use Jamar the most, or maybe the best fit?
So my initial reaction is I
DC.
wonder if it's a CFL gig. He's has some history up north. They're currently still in their off season, so he could have easily gotten a nice, like, oh hey, come in to compete to be R2 somewhere. I think that's my immediate reaction. If he goes to Memphis, it's not the worst, obviously. I think this will transition into, they suddenly need a quarterback. But if they get Jamar, it's fine. I just don't really think right now they have a lot of like high floor, low ceiling kind of guys, and I would love someone who I think could potentially have a little bit more upside than Jamar, to be that QB3. But like, it wouldn't be the worst move at all. I think he could potentially compete to be that starter. It might be a little too late, given the the timeline on that. But yeah, I mean, like if he's going anywhere, it would be Memphis. They're the only team that needs it. I mean, maybe like a DC would be the only other spot I think that would maybe even humor that, because I don't think their backup quarterbacks are so good that you couldn't look to upgrade there, but
Hell, even their starters.
we'll see.
Well, I mean, to kind of bounce off that, I feel like transitions into the next big transaction, which was Quentin Dormady being cut from Memphis. Bit of a surprise, and one that, I've never been a big Quentin Dormady guy. I feel like we've had this conversation before. Nick, you and I both have had this conversation a lot, especially last year, where San Antonio was winning, but Quentin wasn't playing well. It was more so he's being carried by John Lovett and McFarland and a really good defense. That said, I mean, he does have wins under his belt. He's got a lot of passing yards under his belt in spring football. He's someone that I thought could for sure compete for that QB2, QB3 spot. I didn't think he'd be QB1. I figured it would be one of the either EJ Perry or Troy. But to bounce off of that, whoever Memphis brings in as QB3 is very likely to be QB3. Ken Wisenhunt, head coach today, was talking to media about that specifically, and he brought up the fact that, the reason why they cut Quentin was because they really wanted to give Troy and EJ more reps in practice to decide who would be QB1 between those two. And that's the main reason why Dormady got cut, is because he wasn't performing the same level that Troy and EJ was. And at the same time, it's hard to pick a starter when you've got such a short camp. and you've got 3 quarterbacks all battling for that spot. So they made this business decision, cut Quentin, and now let's see who gets it between EJ and Troy.
Which is crazy because everybody I was talking to kept saying that Troy was always 3. And I'm like, no, he's not 3. And now he's definitely not 3.
Yeah, that's true. You can't take that away from him.
He's the Michael Vick of the UFL.
So,
don't laugh.
To echo off of, what James was talking about there, I think I viewed Quentin Dormady as like a similar quarterback to Troy, like quality wise, but the issue that with Dormady always was that his highs were really high and his lows were really low. And I think once they added Perry, it was really obvious to me that Dormady was 3 and he was probably going to be, a step behind the other two, because for him, I think he's high variance like EJ Perry has been over the last couple of years, but a worse quality. That averages out to a worse quarterback than EJ Perry. And so it just didn't make sense to me that he would actually like be able to compete in that. And he's someone who's like, to me, kind of a frustrating quarterback to have, because you see it like when it clicks, and he has, like I think of him with the Guardians against DC 2 years ago, and he's lighting them up. That's the DC team came in 6-0, Orlando's 0-6, and Dormady pretty much single-handedly wins that game for them, and has 6 touchdowns, and like probably one of the best spring football performances from a quarterback we've ever seen from anyone. And then the next week they play Arlington, and he has 5 turnovers and single-handedly loses them the game. And that's always been the Dormady story. For whatever reason, he's not been able to equalize and give himself a floor. Like when he makes a mistake, it leads to more mistakes. And so, it's not the end of the world. He's always been kind of just like a decent backup to me, pretty much since we went to 8 teams. And so like I'm interested to see who 3 is. It's definitely interesting to hear that they cut him to gain reps for the other 2 guys. I think that might be a little bit of Wesenhunt like covering Dormady, because I don't think you cut a guy like if they really like.
Oh, I was told that he was underperforming compared to the other 2.
Yeah,
but it still is interesting that like he must have been really underperforming for them to actually cut him, because you would think that if anything, if you're trying to get EJ and Troy more reps, then just stick him at QB3 for now, where he gets a few reps and EJ and Troy get the majority. So. To my understanding, he was underperforming, and then of course, Wesenhunt in media today was talking about how he wanted to get Troy and EJ reps. Yeah, so that's kind of where I see it, as like that's a little bit of a cover of like that probably isn't untrue, but like, if he's QB3, okay, don't give him any reps and just let him hang around in camp, and if he's your long-term plan. So I do think they bring in someone before the end of camp here, for a QB3, but. We'll see. It's definitely interesting, and I don't think Dormady's someone who's going to factor in any other place at the moment. Now, speaking of former Brahmas, I feel like Thorne, we have to talk about this a little bit. The Brahmas, one of the teams that you're a bit more attached to, especially because of the jersey behind you.
Oh, wrong way.
Anthony McFarland back in business. With Hassan Hall leaving, Anthony resigns. Thorne, you're a huge McFarland guy, so I'm going to let you take this one away.
I'm so happy. I think, if there was any one player I could choose to be back this year that played last year, it would be McFarland, solely because I felt like, and we kind of saw this with a totally different player in Jalen Redmond last year, where we were getting some of the, like some special, like a special spring football season out of them. And then injuries took that away. And then Redmond, he's going to never be back in spring football. He's going to be a rotational defensive lineman in the NFL for a bunch of years now. McFarland didn't quite have enough with the Dolphins to stick around. But I think this year he's like immediately like, oh, it's going to be so much fun in that offense. If they have even competent quarterback play, I think, having McFarland, and they got other dudes. Obviously, Lovett is the one everyone knows, but they added Deshaun Corbin, who I was pretty high on coming into this year as another decent piece to that backfield. So they just got guys on top of guys in that room, and they are so deep, and they can rotate those guys and be super situational with them. I think McFarland, he's an elite receiving back. He's probably the fastest running back in the league immediately. And you saw that last year when he actually played and was fully healthy at the beginning of the year. I remember week 1 against DC, him housing a 40-yard little like bubble screen. And it's like, that's, he has that big playability. And it's funny because John Trey Kirkland, another player on that Brahmas team, was a similar story of like got hurt and then had a full year. And, you actually got to see like a bigger, sample size for a guy like that. So I think it's just good for the league to have a guy like that. He's someone that I would have been really upset if he decided to sit out this season.
Ducky, who's your favorite transaction?
Probably whenever they cut Boogie from D line and then make him QB3.
I know I haven't had many opportunities to talk about it, so I'm just gonna take a couple minutes to wedge this in. Are you guys ready? Like, we have kickoff in just a couple weeks, and we're about to witness not only just history in the second season of the UFL, but we're about to witness a magical team, a wonderful team, a spectacular team, a team that only knows a few numbers, and they include 12-0. Man, it is going to be rough for the other teams. I'm going to be you're all going to be there, except for you, James and Nick. You guys should come. But Ducky, you're going to be there. UFL highlights. I know you're in the chat. You're going to be there. Mad Mill, I think I saw him in the chat. He's going to be there. Zachy Boy's going to be there. We're going to have so many people there. Dude, just think of how many people are going to be in that crowd to watch history. Day 1. Not only history for the stadium with the new name. Space City, us up. That's a win in the book.
Is that what it's called?
Space City something. I haven't
Space
come to
City
a consensus.
Financial Credit Union.
Yeah, I've seen 3 different answers.
Bank.
Yeah, it's called Space City Credit Union in Houston, but then I got harangued last week on the show by Freddie that said, no, it's Space City Financial. And I pulled up the press release. It says Space City Credit Union, although Space City Financial does sound nicer. So maybe there's a dual brand change going on. I don't know. All I know is 12-0. That's all I know. It's going to be good though. Ducky, man. And then I don't know if we figured out, are you coming to day 2?
I really don't know yet. After traveling all this weekend, I don't want to travel anymore.
I'm kind of with you. I half don't even want to drive up there, but we will.
You said
it might be AJ Smith's Super Bowl again. It's San Antonio and Arlington, so
yeah, that's true.
I kind of think you might have to be there for that. AJ Smith's your guy, right?
I'll be there. I'll be there. No, Zach wants to go, so I'm going. I mean, I just think about, okay, the game's at 3, which is nice. So that means it doesn't end super late. But, okay, if I leave at like noon, we'll be cutting it early. So that means we probably want to leave at like 10. So we have like time to get there and all that.
4 hours?
It's like 3.5, probably 4 with the Tesla tax of having to charge it. But it really isn't too bad. Last time when Zach and I went to Arlington last year, we stopped twice. We really only needed to stop once, and it was like 15 minutes per charge each time. So it's not like horrible, but potentially tacking on a half hour to your trip. But I guess we probably would have been taking a gas break anyway, so it all kind of like evens out. Yeah. And then Sunday is going to be a nice relaxing day, at least for me, because no more traveling. I'll just watch those final games at home, maybe from the bar. I don't know, somewhere that's not traveling. Does you, James, do you have the link for?
Oh yeah, he's getting in.
All right, cool.
Now we may or may not have Boogie. So guys, I
if it wasn't Jaren,
disappointment.
Oh.
We may or may not have Boogie because it's UFL training camp. Stuff comes up, so he may be jumping in. He might not be. We'll see. But we do have Jaren.
Dude,
Jaren's in the house.
Campus. I mean, if Boogie can't show up, this is the best anyway. I mean, we didn't even really need 2 guests. we didn't really need two guests if we couldn't get two guests. But Jaren, my man, how you
How
doing?
y'all doing? I'm doing wonderful. It's a
Back
great
for
day.
round 2 on the show, and it, in a little bit different circumstance. I mean, last year we talked, didn't have this role. Now things have come to fruition.
Oh yeah.
You got that role, and Ducky, you'll back me up on this. Jaren, you're about to tell everybody what the truth is here.
Oh my God.
We were here for USFL season 2, and we saw what the Mahler's Revenge tour looked like, and it might not be the same name, but another one. I mean, Boogie ain't here, but every week it seems like there's another one, and you're building it up. How does it feel?
It feels awesome. It's awesome to have some familiar faces, like you said, back from 2023. I think we got eight former Maulers on the team. I think 5 on defense, and then obviously Troy and Henny and Matt. So we got a little sprinkling on a lot of different areas of this team. So it's cool to have familiar faces like that. And Coach Hull, our special teams coordinator, Coach Steve, our DB coach, to work with those guys again is great.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hop in quick, Jaren, and maybe have you talk a little bit about what went on behind the scenes a bit with you getting this Memphis gig. Because obviously, you were one of the main prospects. I mean, especially in the social media scene. When you think spring football, when you think USFL, UFL, so many people on social media, I mean, specifically X, were up in arms about the fact that you weren't in the UFL last year. I mean, a lot of people, especially looking at some of those defenses and how, Arlington, Memphis last year, and some of these other teams were struggling a year ago, they were like, okay, how in the world does Jaren not have a job right now? Obviously, the merger really made things took a turn for the worse for a lot of people in this scene. So some things were out of control. But what all went down behind the scenes with you and Ken Wizenhunt, getting this gig here in Memphis?
Yeah, so me and Coach Wiz go way back, for real. Like, probably since 2003, 2004, somewhere around there. He was the coordinator for the Steelers, the offensive coordinator, and my dad was a DB coach. So I was around the building all the time as a little kid, running around. Who knows what I was doing? Stupid stuff, probably. But knew him from then. He got the Arizona Cardinals head coaching job in, I want to say, like 2006, 2007, somewhere around there. And a few years later, he brought my dad to be the defensive coordinator there in Arizona. And then when he got the Titans head coaching job, he brought my dad again. So we've had a long relationship. And actually, my first job coaching in 2014, I did the Bill Walsh internship. And that was with the Titans when Wiz was the head coach. So that was like my first real coaching introduction. So it's kind of come full circle. And really, in the process of Coach Wiz getting the job, when this job opened up, I hit him up. And I was like, hey, have you heard anything about the Memphis Showboats job? And he said he hadn't, but he reached out to Daryl, and through the process, obviously, he ended up getting the head coaching job and asked me to be his coordinator. And of course, I accepted because I was excited about the opportunity to get to work with him and, like I said, kind of come full circle.
No, absolutely. I mean, look at you, Jaren, kind of pulling some of the scenes on your end, helping Ken get a job, which in turn helps you get a job. And I think that, that's the cool thing about especially professional football, spring football. So much of this is networking and who you know and just the people that, if you want to make it in the scene, you can make it. You just got to put in the work, stay on that grind and keep things going. And, on your end, you're coming back to spring football. This opportunity is something that you were really, really wanting. We saw your tweets last year. What's kind of the message for you heading into this season with Memphis? Brand new team, brand new slate, and, in a new league.
Yeah. The message to our guys has been to enjoy the journey. I've told them the joy is in the journey. Shout out to Gorsak. Some of you guys know him. He was a longtime scout, but he had told me that, and it stuck with me. Enjoy the journey, because you never know where life's going to take you, and to really kind of be where your feet are. Our guys are really buying in to what we're teaching on offense, defense, special teams. Like, I'm excited about this team. We got some talent. Jim has assembled a hell of a team. talent-wise. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see where things go. Where I think today was practice 8, practice 7 today. So we're starting to get a feel for the team, what we're going to be like, what we're going to look like. It's going to look different than it looked in Pittsburgh for sure, which that'll be a good thing. So put some stuff out there that this league hasn't seen. So maybe some people will be surprised in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a bit about your perspective on camp so far. All these new pieces. Obviously, you have a lot of maulers there, but so many guys that were brought in by your GM, Jim. Any names in particular that are kind of sticking out to you so far here in camp? Guys that are flying around making plays.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Dantzler is obviously a big time name. He looks the part for sure, and he's a good football player. Lance Boykin on the outside, he's another good looking corner. Both those guys are 6'3". Can't teach length.
I know.
Yeah. A guy that has been outstanding is John Atkins. I knew the talent, but I didn't know him personally and didn't know how professional he is. He's a true pro, and that's been awesome. He's been an awesome guy to be around, for a vet presence and doesn't say a whole bunch, but he does his work and he works hard. He works hard for a big guy in the middle, and he's always running to the ball, and it's like, damn, like running 30 yards, chasing after the quarterback, run back, get the next snap. Like, it's impressive to see him work and see what he can do.
I'm gonna pass the mic over to Ducky, because Ducky, you and Jaren, you guys go way back. Ducky,
Dude,
I'm sure you have something to say. So the floor is yours.
I'm excited that Saber that went through. So I'm just glad that the league approved that one this time. But he's a good tight end.
Yeah, I'm happy that he got picked up and all that.
Yeah,
that was good.
I'm glad to see all the Memphis guys, or all the Maulers guys back. The Memphis Maulers. Yeah,
it kind of is low key a little bit like that.
So you're gonna send Gilbert after all these guys again, right? Because some people have been smack talking his name around.
Yeah. Some people they be disrespecting. They don't remember. They don't remember
the island.
Right. Yeah. They'll see it. They'll see it again. Don't worry.
They kept saying, "Oh, he didn't do too well here. He didn't do well there." They don't know. They don't know what he's like under you.
That's facts. I mean, led the league in PBUs, led the league in interceptions, all pro. So I ain't worried about Mark. Not at all.
Yep. That's why I tell people, I'm like, you've got the players, but it's also the people who are teaching the players, who are coaching them. It's not just all about talent. It's all about who's telling them what to do, where to go, stuff like that. But
that's real. That's real.
All right, now I think I talked to you a little bit about it before. The Maulers had the what was it? The
turnover hammer.
The hammer. Have you decided on another one yet?
I haven't. I'm trying. Like, we've been talking about it, and here you go. We've been talking about it, and we can't come up with something that's not like corny. We're trying. We've been brainstorming, but it's difficult. It's difficult.
I feel like you got in here at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Boogie, can you hear us?
He can't hear nothing. He's got a
We love a good technical difficulty on this show. It's like a newsroom thing. It's like 7 years in, we got a glitch. If there's a glitch to have, we have it.
It reminds me of I was on Webb's show last year, or no, 2023. After the end of that season, we had Boogie. We had a whole bunch of Memphis or Maulers guys in, and I forget who it was. I think it was Williams. He just kept cutting in. He'd come back in 3 minutes later, say one word, cut back out.
Let's see, Boogie, can you hear us? Nah, he's cutting. We'll get him. He'll move to another spot, I think. Let's see, Nick. I feel like you got to have some roster questions for my man here. While we get these. None. No. What is going on?
No, of course.
Did you ask him already?
Like,
oh,
what do you think? I don't.
up. I thought you were saying no. I was like, what are you doing here then?
Do you
this
know
ain't
me?
no hobby.
Yeah, so I think two of the position groups that I was most interested in, and Boogie's gone. All right. Hopefully he can get back in here and we can talk to him. But the two position groups I really wanted to ask you about and pick your brain on now that you're in camp is linebacker and safety. These are groups that kind of have some young guys, some unproven guys, and I'm kind of curious where those groups have kind of shaken out now that you're 8 practices in.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. We do have some young guys, especially at linebacker. But we also we have a mix because Obi and Zeke are kind of vet guys. Zeke not a vet guy in this league, but played in Miami for 2 years with the Dolphins. So we kind of got a nice little mix of youth, some young guys, and some vets that have been around. Zeke has come in and been a true professional guy for us and a calming presence in the middle. And then we got some young guys like Chris and Rigby that are athletic and can run around. Steele has been a pleasant surprise. Hasn't played much linebacker in his football career, but he pops. He shows up. And Obi has also showed up there.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we got you. We got you.
Wow.
Y'all ain't saying nothing.
He's talking. You don't interrupt the Secretary of Defense. You don't do that.
Come on now. Obi is the first time he's playing in the box, and he's picking it up really quick. So I'm excited about him as well.
All right. So it seems like we got your connection sorted. We got you here on the camp. Now, do we want to circle back? Because I think that was a good question for Boogie. Now, Ducky, you were talking about the Mauler's hammer, the turnover hammer, and try and find a new solution for the Maulers here. Ducky, was I right in what you were talking about there, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure they've talked about it.
We have.
But
we haven't came up with nothing. So I was gonna reach out to Ducky. He's the creative one out of the group to see if he has some ideas.
I was thinking an anchor, but that would kind of be hard to carry around.
Where are we gonna get an anchor from, Ducky?
I don't know. You guys are in Memphis.
You gotta make one.
I was thinking maybe a little wheel, like a turnover wheel, like
on
a chain, turnover chain, but a turnover wheel.
Where are you gonna get that from? The
Amazon,
hammer was
they
easy
have
to
everything.
get. But that's been the issue is what are we gonna the hammer, it made sense. It was easy. You put the stickers on it for the guys that made the plays, but it's difficult. Like an anchor, I get it.
Tried
but we gotta get an anchor. Trident would be kind of hard.
I was just thinking like a captain's hat.
See,
everybody doing that.
Captain's hat, but then it's gonna get all sweaty and gross and
Yeah.
Like imagine Big John putting on the captain's hat, then I gotta follow it up and wear it after he just put it on. Nah.
I don't even know. I feel like a trident would be cool. It doesn't really tie to showboats though. I feel like a
James,
turnover
you're on
wheel.
mute if you're trying to talk.
That's embarrassing.
Damn it. What's new? Boogie, you just mentioned John Atkins, Big John. Jaren was just talking about him. I kind of want to get your input on what that defensive line unit has been looking like so far. For you, it's a much different scene than it was in Pittsburgh. How are you meshing in? How's practices going, and how are you feeling so far here, a week into camp?
It's been dope. It's kind of like rivals that weren't rivals, coming together and being on the same team. I always compared myself in the USFL to the top guys. There was Toby, there was Big John, there was me, there was Olive, and it's been dope to actually be in the same room with him and pick each other's brains and bounce ideas off each other, and being that veteran presence, that has been around the block for a while, to have another guy you can lean on. They'll know their responsibilities. He's a true professional. He's been dope. He's welcomed me. He's like, dog, you're one of the new faces, but I know you're a leader. Don't be afraid to speak up. This is your D-line now. So he's welcomed me with open arms. It's been great working with him, PJ, Big Joe, and all those guys. So it's been a blessing. And I really look forward to the defense. Trench gang this year, we're going to put the league on notice. I definitely feel like we'll be the best defensive line in the UFL. I don't care what people think about those Stallions.
I absolutely love the confidence, and I feel like that's what we missed. I mean, Boogie, having you, on the sidelines, we definitely got to get at least a couple Boogie interviews this year. What do you say to that?
And Fox and ESPN, they might as well hire me. So I don't know. I don't know if I got any more free interviews left, but we'll get a couple in this year. But I got to also make plays, so
Gotta pay me.
it go hand in hand. Yeah. With the
I mean,
free stuff,
you know,
the
you could
charity
be
is running out.
you could be trailblazing, Boogie. You could be the first, sideline reporter that's also a player.
Yeah, Boogie
Man,
we get a turnover. Boogie forced a fumble. Someone else pick it up. Boogie get to interview them. There you go.
Hey,
There
I
you
feel like
go.
that's
the
gotta
mic on
happen.
him.
Like, just take the mic out of the reporter's hand and just Boogie just take over.
I hope they don't cut to commercial break.
So I got to say, one of the things, James, you kind of alluded to this, but Boogie, I mean, you bring a lot to the table. Not only do you bring the on-field performance, but you bring a little bit of personality to the locker room. And we've already seen a little bit of that come through in the social media, some of the videos that have come out. One of which that I'll bring up, we saw you wishing Coach Wisenhunt a happy birthday the other day. Beautiful, beautiful singing voice, by the way. Sign you up.
Happy birthday to you.
Boogie, are you gonna
Not
join
bad,
the players choir after you hang it up?
Man,
or-
that would be dope. I mean, they actually are pretty good, so I don't know if I'd make it, but who knows?
So I got to know, we talked to Jaren a little bit about working with Wisenhunt, but, I don't think you had joined the show yet. So how's the transition for you? How do you like working for Wisenhunt? You've had played for a few different coaches in the league, but how's the transition working out for you?
Oh, he's super smooth. He's smooth, calm, laid back. He don't yell. He don't raise his voice. It's been dope to just pick his brain as well. He's a Super Bowl winning coach, so when he speaks, everybody in the room listens. He treats everybody with respect. He knows some guys are trying to get back to the next level, so he always mentions how he plans to help guys out with that. Some guys just love being in this league, and he talks about how this league great for guys to find some stability and things like that. So he's been dope. We joke around with him every day. He makes fun of my singing. But Coach Wynn has been awesome.
I'd love to hear from both you, Boogie, and Jaren a little bit on, trying to transform this Memphis team from top to bottom, not just on the field, but off the field. Because, you look at what the Showboats did last season where, 2-8 kind of struggled to win games. And you could tell that, the locker room, the energy wasn't great. And just the overall vibes in Memphis weren't fantastic last year. So you guys coming in, trying to bring some fresh juice, some fresh faces. What's that process like for the two of you? Boogie, you're a leader in the locker room as a player. Jaren, obviously, you as defensive coordinator. You bring leadership in a different way. How does that work out for the two of you?
Boogie.
I know for me, player-wise, I honestly feel like it's easier because there's so many new players. I feel like if it was a lot of the old players from last year, it will be maybe a pushback or resentment that their old coach isn't here, but we're all new. Like 90% of the team is new, so we're all hitting this thing together, and I feel like that makes it easier for everyone to buy in. So it's been a smooth transition in terms of the players buying in and receiving a message from Coach Horton.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think we have 3 D linemen and 2 corners from last year on the defense. So it's a lot of new faces, a lot of moving parts and stuff like that. But it's been great. Practices have been great tempo. Guys competing, guys communicating, guys taking care of each other. No cheap shots, no fights, stuff like that kind of start to happen really around now, the second week of camp. People get tired of going against the same person, and yeah, so people are taking care of each other and having good practice habits, and where the team at, it's fun, and the guys are buying in, and we'll see what happens when we roll the ball out there in about 20 days.
Yeah, I mean,
This is good lighting, by the way.
Culture is such a big part of football. I mean, you look at what the Maulers did in 2023, where you went from worst to first. You had that turnaround, making it the championship. Such a big part of that was what was going on off the field. In the locker rooms, in the meetings, things like that. How do you what is your process, Jaren, for establishing those sorts of cultures where everyone's together, the camaraderie's on point, and guys actually want to play for each other and not just for themselves?
I think for me personally, as far as the defense goes, I try to give the players a lot of ownership. over what we're doing and how we're doing it. Like it's still going to be structured in a certain way, but what we're going to do on the back end and how we're going to fit some runs and how we're going to cover certain route concepts, we talk about it as an entire unit. Like I'll be up there teaching and I'll ask them, well, how do you guys see this? What do you see in this coverage? What do you see in this coverage? So I think when guys feel like it's their own defense and it's not, well, this is coach's defense and we're just doing what he's telling us to do. When guys feel ownership, I think it gives them, they feel empowered to say that this is our defense, this is our team, and that's what I try to do, is give them the power.
I'm on mute again. Look at that. Jaren, yeah, no, I love that answer. And Boogie, I want to turn it over to you really quick. I know you're probably on a bit of a time limit here, but I was talking to you immediately the other day. You talked about a bit of the chip on your shoulder, but you called it a boulder, and we lost him. So on cue,
Scared him away, James.
he didn't want to talk about the boulder on the shoulder,
No, he
man.
didn't.
Well, maybe if you weren't on mute and you knew what you were doing.
I'm a fraud, guys. What can I say?
I feel like everybody on that team's
Ref,
got-
take over. I need to take. I need to
I
take
got
time
another
out for a
question
second.
for Jaren. If
Go for it. Yeah, jump in.
so, obviously, you're seeing things from a defensive perspective, but just talk through like what you're seeing from this offense right now, and whether it's singling out specific guys or just talking holistically. I'm just kind of curious where you see the other side of the ball with Coach Wigenhunt's vision.
Yeah.
Here.
I can't really speak to individual players because I don't know necessarily like who guys are yet at this point on the offense. Like I'd be lying if I knew who all the guys were, because I'm so focused. Like at practice, I'm so focused on what we're doing in the back end and like, did we cover this right over here? Did we do this? Like I'm not seeing numbers and stuff like that. But like watching our offense and watching Coach Wiz kind of do his thing and call the plays and install the offense, like it's exciting. I'm excited to see what this offense does. The receivers and the quarterbacks and the tight ends are starting to click in the pass game and stuff like that. Guys, like they're getting the timing. It takes a little bit. It takes usually like a week or two for them to kind of get into rhythm and okay, this is how that quarterback throws. This is how the ball comes out of his hand. So that's starting to happen now, and it's good to see. I'm excited about this offense. It's very exciting. Guys are starting to make plays, and I actually was able to sit in on the end of the offensive meeting today, and Coach Wiz was teaching up the receivers on how they need to run their routes and attack leverage and stuff like that. And it was very cool to see for me to sit in the offensive room and kind of hear what they say to then be able to go back to our defensive guys and be like, this is how they're taught, so this is kind of how you need to counter that. But yeah, the offense is looking good.
Boogie's back, and I gotta address it, Boogie. You left me hanging on that question, man.
I know wow, I heard you about to go in. My bad. Real slow.
There we go.
It wouldn't be a
Go ahead.
Memphis
What were you
Showboats
saying,
interview
James?
if it wasn't for some technical difficulties. We had Coach Flip on last year. Remember, he was in his dark car with like horrible connection, like you could barely see like his teeth, and he smiled like. Oh, it's always something with the Showboats. But Boogie, look, I mean, last year you had San Antonio sign you, and then all of a sudden they decided to move on from you. Then DC brings you into camp. They move on from you quickly. We talked about it. Boulder shoulder season. Tell me about it.
I mentioned the disrespect. Got let go from San Antonio. It was unfortunate with the coaching change. I was kind of like out of my hands and out of my control with that whole turnover. But then the DC thing, I was super excited. Me and Ducky were on board. Ducky had created me my little jersey image and everything. Ducky was going to lead the beer snake. And we were ready to go. And I was super excited to play for those guys. And it just didn't work out. It was unfortunate. I feel like they could have used me. I know they could have used me last year because look how that turned out, but that's neither here nor there. So I just used it as motivation. It's not only those teams. I reached out to every team throughout the year. Some teams didn't even respond. Some coaches didn't even get back to me. Some left me on red like a annoying ex, but I kept texting them. I didn't care because I know what I mean to spring football. I know my ability, and I know I put in the work to deserve an opportunity because the film spoke for itself. So I just put my head down and went to work, doing double workouts, getting the opportunity to work out with Aaron Donald 3 times, driving almost 2 hours to get to his house to work out early in the morning before the sun comes up. And I had my son. So it was just a lot of moving pieces. I was questioning, like, why me? I felt like I earned the right to be on the team, and it was just a lot. I remember crying at some point watching some of the games, like I know I was supposed to be out there, but I just never lost faith. And I was talking to Coach Horton all the time, like probably blowing his phone up. He has his own child to worry about, and I was probably calling him like his son, just like, man, we supposed to be out there. We supposed to be out there. He sent me the song by Lil Wayne or whoever it's by, like, let it all work out. Everything gonna play itself out. And it was just crazy how this happened. So I'm looking forward to this year. Everybody got to get it. I know I was spilling a lot, but it just had to get off my chest. Everybody got to get this work one team at a time, and it's going to start with Michigan. And that's my mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, what does it mean to have, the two of you back on the same team? Obviously, you guys have been close for the last couple of years working with Pittsburgh. I mean, what's it like to just be back in the same, not the same team, but back in the same place together?
It's dope because I really don't even consider him a coach. Like, in terms of like figures, he's my coach, but he's really like a friend / brother to me. We talk about family and after football, and we joke, send each other funny things. So he's really like a super close friend or like my older brother, but he's just my coach. So that's kind of how our relationship is. I plan on, even when I'm done, I know we'll be super tight. So it's just been dope. I'm just glad that God, I put him in my life, honestly.
I appreciate that. That's love. That's real. And that's real. That's hella real.
This is why we love spring football, guys. I mean,
Boogie, we can't hear you. This is Ref's fault again. No, we can't hear you. You're muted.
You cut out. No, we got the whole message. We got the whole message, though. We heard it all. And it's true. Like, me and Boogie last year were talking all the time. Like, all off season we were talking, like, we got to get back in. We got to get back in. And we're blessed to be here. And I mean, shoot, Boogie, I'm sitting in my office right now. Boogie be sitting in the chair all the time. We just be talking about life, football, everything in between. And it is. This space is awesome. This spring football world, it really is a cool place. And I try to tell people that all the time. Like, it's pure football. Like, in college, you got NIL and all of that nonsense. In the NFL, you got guys trying to get their next contract, and you see some of these things coming out now that guys are getting paid a lot of money. But here, it's the guys aren't getting paid those $10, $20, $30 million a year. It's purely about football, and guys are really hungry to learn. You can create really good relationships in this league. And like what Boogie said is 100% real. Like, I don't see him as a player. I see him as like more than a player. We're like family. So it's really cool. It's really cool how our relationship has evolved and just what this spring league can provide for people. It's awesome.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think you said it best, Jaren. This is what spring football is. It's providing opportunities and not, on and off the field, something you and Boogie, obviously your relationship goes so much further than football, and it will go a lot further than the UFL, whatever that looks like in the future. But you probably wrap up the segment around here, Jaren. We really appreciate you taking all the time. I know you're busy. You've got film to watch. You've got, things to draw up on the board. But I don't know, does anyone here on the panel have any last words here for Jaren as we wrap things up? And I know Boogie already dipped, but he's got stuff going on. So, Ducky, I think you pissed him off, actually.
Yeah, it was me. No, but just back to the Boogie thing. It's like whenever the whole DC thing happened, I just told him, I'm just a fan, Doesn't really matter much coming from me, but like all these guys, you got all these guys, but you got the NFL guys making their money, and then the NIL and the NCAA. But these guys here, it's just passion for these guys. So,
it's about the love of the game.
Yep. It's just, and you can't teach passion. You can't teach that.
Well, that's what I'm most excited to see this season out of the Showboats, honestly, because I know what you bring as a coach. I mean, we saw it over the last couple of years with the USFL, right? And then I just know the group of guys that you bring around you. And I mean, I draw back to USFL season 2, the championship media weekend, even listening to your dad and just listening to some of the things that he was saying to the media and some of the things he was relaying to the players, like, this is what makes it cool. I mean, the football is like half of the coolness of spring football. Like, just even us having the opportunity to talk to guys like you, talk to guys like Boogie, and watch your journey in and out of the league and back. And like I said, me personally, I'm looking forward to that revenge tour this year. I mean, I talk a lot about the Roughnecks because that's what I got to do. I'm a showman and I got the gimmicks and all that, but I really am excited about the Showboats this year, and I really am wishing the best of luck for you. Just take it easy on Houston a little bit.
No, I appreciate. No, I owe them one from 2013. They had a 4th and 1, and we got cut out of the gap, and they scored. So we should have won that game. So I owe them one. I'm gonna get them twice this year.
Oh. Shouldn't have said anything.
Speaking of bulletin board stuff, who are you most excited to play this year?
Who?
In terms of revenge,
I think a lot of teams for a lot of different reasons. To be honest with you,
probably not Michigan though, because like they're.
But it's a new staff. It's a new staff, so. But yeah,
This is
I mean
why
that's
Zach
week
didn't
1.
show
But
up
they got
this
a few of our former Maulers over there, so we owe them a little bit too.
I think he's
Go
looking
back and
forward
get
to
him.
playing San Antonio, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
Guru
to that one too.
versus Guru. Offense
Yeah, I'm
versus
looking
defense.
forward to that one too. He ain't lying.
Did he say anything nice about me, James, when I left?
I
No,
No
Thorne
comment.
said something really mean.
Yeah. I said you
I was
be
getting
my
all- I
office
was getting
annoying
all-
and bothering me all the time.
I was getting all emotional, and then my phone did what it did, so I needed to shut up.
Yeah. No, I said you be spending too much time in my office. You be annoying me and everything.
That's fine. I'll be there tomorrow.
Okay, Boogie, I mean, before we wrap up this segment, I gotta ask, I mean, looking at Ducky's blurb there, QB3 coming soon? You have one snap at the pro level at QB.
Game winner.
I mean,
And
if
to
it could-
win.
if it- the way our roster is constructed right now, we may need to add another player somewhere else. So I could double dip. I feel like that would help our roster. So maybe.
We'll have to wait and
Maybe.
see.
Yeah.
I do have a question for Boogie here. I want to.
Here we go.
Oh, I was waiting for you. Oh God.
No,
I was waiting for you. Yeah, I was waiting. I was waiting for you up there in that right corner.
no, for sure. Yeah, obviously, I've seen it in the chat too. So we got to have our moment here. But seriously, one of the things you said when we were talking and jawing back and forth was I don't want to just be 2023 Boogie. I want to be better. And so I was really curious, like, what are the things that you look at 2023 Boogie and say, okay, these are the areas that I want to improve on? Is it just something as simple as just getting bigger, faster, stronger? You talked about, the 2-a-days workouts and all that. Or are there some things that you're like, I need to be better in this aspect going into this year?
In terms of stat wise, obviously, had 3 sacks in 23, so maybe getting 6 sacks. And we're a 3-4 base defense, so playing at the 0 and getting any sacks as a true nose technique is great. But just when we do go down to our 4-down stuff, just winning more of my one-on-ones, because since those opportunities are so rare in this defense, you got to take advantage of those opportunities when you get them. And I look forward to it because I believe our offense is going to be very dynamic this year, and we won't be losing as much as we were in 2023. So I'll have more opportunities to rush the passer. I have a better understanding of the defense because it's my 3rd year, so that allows me to play fast. I know where my help is. I know where the weak parts of the defense on certain calls is, so I'm able to take more chances. So just having a better understanding of the defense. I want to be first team all UFL this year. I want to lead the defensive line in sacks this year, so I have a lot of goals for myself. So I put in that work in the off season to to achieve that. So now it's just up to me to go out there and do it within the scheme of the defense, obviously.
Sweet.
Right on. We love to hear it. Boogie, Jaren, really appreciate your time. Obviously, you guys are busy.
Yeah.
Boogie, you're out and about. Jaren, I know you probably have a lot to do. But any
I'll be
final
chilling.
words
I'll
from
be
the two of you guys as we
Yeah.
wrap up this segment of the show?
Boogie sending me
Yeah, I
down
got
the parking
some.
lot.
Yeah. I just want to give a shout out to Coach Horton, because I honestly can say probably without this opportunity, the way last year ended, my football career might have been over. As crazy as that sounds to me, so I kind of just owe it to him to be the best version of myself, and he deserves to be a head coach. So I promise I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that this defense is the number one defense in the league, and that the league respects you. For the young, great coach that you are, I'm super thankful for you, because without you, I probably wouldn't be playing football anymore. So thank you for giving me this last chance and believing in me. I love you, and I'm looking forward to this season. And I always love you guys for covering the league. You guys don't get the recognition that you deserve, because you guys aren't getting paid for this. You put out great content weekly. Ducky's trolling gets the fans in uproars. Like, he doesn't have to do that, but he does. I love you, Ducky, for always supporting me. Switching teams from jersey to jersey to jersey. You always had my back from day one. So I appreciate you. And just thank you guys. And thank you, Nick, for putting that extra little Frito chip on my shoulder this year. There we go.
Man,
You're absolutely
laughs.
welcome.
I think we might have some tears.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah,
show.
man.
Jaren, how do you follow that up?
I don't know if I can. I mean, he is the mayor. He is a lot better of a public speaker than I am. But I just want to echo that. Like, I love you too, Boogie, and I'm happy that we get to run this thing back. And I'm happy that you are still able to play this game that you love at a high level. And for you guys, I agree. No, but for real, you guys do an excellent job. Like, you guys
Boogie, you gonna
do
get into
an
acting?
Outstanding job.
He already is.
I know.
I'm already in.
Appreciate you guys.
I know.
We truly appreciate you guys and the work that you do. You're always, I mean, shoot, I get all of my information from James's tweets, just seeing what the moves are and everything. I'm dead serious. That's how I learn everything.
I get
You see Larson tweeted this? Oh, okay. See, that's how
That's love,
I see
Jaren. I
stuff.
appreciate that, man.
Mm-hmm. No,
Shout out to
guys
you,
are
Up Daily.
excellent. You guys are awesome. That's Centel, huh? That's the same person. That's Centel.
Must be.
That's
Centel, but
Centel
for the
Saturday
UFL.
now. That's
He
awesome.
said, The Rock said,
People-
The Rock said,
Yeah.
we're paying the players? I thought they were paying us to play. I lost it.
Oh my!
This is our last show.
Oh man. On
Literally,
that note,
anytime you guys need me, I'm here, man. I love it. This may be
Oh,
the
man.
UFL around the horn or something one day. Who knows?
Facts.
Hell yeah.
we love you guys too. We appreciate you taking the time to join us, Jaren, Boogie. We'll see you in the season.
All right. See y'all
Thanks for
soon.
giving me something to root for.
Hell yeah. Just a couple
Deuces.
weeks away. Peace.
Nah,
Man,
Boogie.
Can't stand you,
another
Nick.
fun
Bye.
episode.
What'd you say, Boogie?
I said, can't stand you, Nick. Bye. I don't know what was up with this Wi-Fi. Oh my goodness. Oh my
you
goodness.
actually
I'm
on
sorry, y'all.
No, it's good.
No.
He's
You
gonna
don't
get Big
understand.
Mac right as soon as he ends it.
Technical That's what we do, man. We love a good problem on this show. Ducky. You're probably in heaven right now.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to root for something again. Like,
Yeah.
I was in limbo last year. Like, it was like, because like year one, I did the Breakers thing, and I feel like whatever fandom I'm in, I take it over. Like, I'm the number one. Like, it just goes into my veins. Like, I inject that stuff, the fandom, in my veins and stuff. And last year is just, the DC thing happened, and then you had Matty Fresh telling the fans to throw crap at me, and it was just stupid.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't know why. That was just crazy.
Boogie back? What
He's
is happening?
trying. I think he's
He's
trying.
trying something.
Ref, I don't know. What's the next segment
I'm
here?
just
as we
gonna
wrap
hide
things
him
up?
just in case he didn't mean to call back in, because it feels like he may have butt dialed in.
Boogie?
It won't let me hide him though.
He's probably about to rip ass too.
Thank God he's muted.
No, I heard his mic go off.
I know. I heard him. It says he's muted, but I heard some clanking around. Anyway, we got this is 7 years, folks. This is what 7 years gets you. You want to go through points real quick? We'll wrap some things up. I ain't gonna forget points this week. Not 2 weeks in a row. Okay. So who do we got here? We got James. I'm gonna start with you. We're gonna give you. Even though you had a couple problems, I feel like that was just par for the course this week. I didn't even mention it, but my internet was really bad during this. And so what would happen is somebody would say like 2 words.
Wow, what the what kind of timing was that? Somebody would say 2 words.
James, please take over.
Oh man.
The
No,
show
he's
is
getting
falling
himself points.
apart.
He's just frozen there.
I don't think we deserve points
On?
today.
Can you hear me? Was I gone
There
the
you
whole
go.
time? I was talking about my internet being so horrible.
Rev, you paused at like the perfect time. You started talking about your internet and then you just froze.
So the cat's out of the bag. I've been having internet problems over here, but you didn't hear me say. I just ran with it. I said, maybe I'm frozen, maybe I'm not. James, you're getting a whopping 10 points. I don't care if you had
Beautiful.
problems. Clearly, this is just, it's a Monday. It's a Monday glitch
It's a PFN
day.
thing, man.
Let's see. Thorn, you went up against the mayor. You went toe to toe.
Lost, but you went toe to toe.
Hey,
I'm
can,
gonna
can I
give you-
have
Yeah.
can I have 8 points for my because my favorite player Boogie Roberts is wearing 8 this year.
You know what?
And
I'm going to
so-
do that.
I'm clipping that.
I
I
do
need
that.
And so I wanna show how much I appreciate him so I'm gonna go with 8 points today. If you'll let me.
I'm going to do that. I'll grant you your wish. I'm going to give Zachy Boy 2 points, even though he wasn't here this week. I'm going to give him 2 points, one for
Last
each of
week.
the losses he's going to take to the Showboats this year because he didn't appear on the show. So that brings him up here.
Give Jake not
Negative points?
Milligan,
-3?
No, give him 3. Give him 3.
Give Jake 3 points for grilling.
No, just for what happened in 2023.
Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. Good call out. Ducky, I mean, this is your big day. I'm going to give you. Oh, I can't do. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll make this interesting. If I give you 13 points. Okay. I don't know what has happened. How are you in second place under James by 1 point? It's all going to come down to that Millie on a Friday. I just got a feeling it's that 69 points is going to determine the winner of this season.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Myself, I'm going to give myself 12 points. Get over it. And I'm still not even close. So 12-0. That's all I know. But we got another big week coming up next Monday. I think Zach and I will probably record, so stay tuned for the end of the week. But here's what you all need to do. Make sure you're following, subscribe, click the bell. It builds morale. It lets you know when we go live, just like Monday nights, just like we're going to be for Spring Stock 4, which if I have to, I don't even need to remind you, but I will. Zach's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Ducky's going to be there. We're going to have James Baker there, whether he likes it or not. I hope as many people from the Discord show up because we're going to show the whole world what you look like, and you're going to have no choice of it. Wait, I'm not enticing you to come. We won't put you on camera. Show up to Spring Stock 4. We'll have a corner for all the Discord people. We'll have it like walled off. It'll be extra dark. You won't even have to look at like the daylight. It'll be perfect for you. Any final thoughts from anybody before we head into the sunset this week? Nice and easy. I like
Oh,
it.
who do you guys actually think QB3 will be for Memphis? I want to ask James. I want his answer live.
Honestly, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I highly doubt it'd be Jamar. That just wouldn't make sense to me, in my opinion, with where he's at his career. But honestly, it might just be Boogie.
Could be Boogie. Ducky, this is one you would love to see Sloter fill that spot.
Dude.
I don't know. Just call it a hunch. It doesn't feel like it's happening, but that to me would be a fun one.
I would honestly like to see Jaren Horton get called up. He's playing in arena football right now, but he was the Stallions backup for a couple years. He's thrown some really good balls, and he was balling a couple nights ago in AF1. So I think he should get a call.
Yeah,
he probably will by the time that league collapses.
Oh.
Random name to throw out there. Not saying it happened, but I just thinking about who would potentially take a QB3 role right now. Cole Kelly, former Memphis quarterback.
Big old gumbo.
Yeah,
Gumby.
all 6'7", 240.
Wait, he was Memphis quarterback, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was the
Whatever
starter
happened to
there.
him?
He flip cut him, right before camp, right? Or no, it was like the first week at camp. He got cut, and they brought in Josh Love.
That's right. Well, it's going to be, the next couple of weeks of the show are going to be crazy. Nick, I know you're going to be in heaven because it's like roster breakdown season. We're probably about to see some cuts that are going to probably be shocking. There's going to be there's always conversation every year when it comes to this. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you tune in, and make sure you're checking out Pro Football Newsroom daily for all the latest news. James, again, you don't even drink coffee, right? Yeah, sign you up. That's a man right there, guys.
Just beer.
If you ever needed a role model, there it is. There, yeah, just beer.
No, I got my protein drinks. That's what I live off of.
Sign them up. All right, well, I think that's it, guys. I think I'm going to end the show. Until next time, everybody, sign you up. St. Louis sucks, right?
Nick Thorne is a fraud.
Oh.